Hello and welcome to another episode of the Purpose Vision Future Show. I am your host, Amanda Heel, and I'm coming to you from Canberra, Australia. Now, as this is the last episode in the season, I would like to take the opportunity to tell you about a couple more people who discovered their life's purpose by just stumbling over it. But I'd also like to take you through the practical process of examining your past, examining your present, and examining your passions and dreams, which I've outlined in my book. And I'd like to show you how that works in practice by telling you about a couple of clients that I have worked with through that process. And now the book is this book, Seeing by Vision, Not by Sight. And you can get the book at purposevisionfuture.com. That's purposevisionfuture.com. And it has this process that I've taken these clients through all laid out in the book, and you can go through that there. So, Presbyterian minister Stefan Slucky was born with congenital glaucoma. Now, this is a condition whereby the pressure builds up in the eye and it damages structures in the eye, and it can, if not treated, cause total blindness. Now, Stefan was born with some vision, and he had a number of eye surgeries to try and preserve his vision. But unfortunately, these surgeries weren't successful, and he lost his vision at the age of 18. But while he was overseas in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, in the US, having some surgery, he attended Bible college. And it was then that one of the teachers discovered that he had a gift for explaining concepts in the Bible to others. And it was then that Stefan discovered that his life's purpose was to preach the word of God. So he decided to come back to Australia and train as a Presbyterian minister. Now, this wasn't going to be easy because there were no other blind people in Australia who had been trained as Presbyterian ministers, although there were some who had been trained while they were sighted and then lost their sight and continued to practice as ministers. So he was eventually able to convince the relevant authorities that he should be trained as a minister. And he did that. And now he is the first blind person to be ordained as a Presbyterian minister in Australia. And that was in 1988. And he's still serving today. Now, when I asked Stefan what it was like to be living out his life's purpose, he said, and I quote, to live a day of life is a privilege, but often involves difficulties of various kinds. I'm thrilled to realize that it all has a purpose for me. All things, not just the happy, pleasant, fulfilling things, but all things work together for those who love God, who are called according to his purpose. And that's Romans 8:28. For me, that sense of every event, dark or bright, being allowed to happen to me for a reason, and a good reason at that, brings enormous comfort, calm, and confidence. God's going to work all things out for his glory and my good. How wonderful is that? End quote. So there's an example of, someone who stumbled over their life's purpose and is living it out and is like truly, truly happy about that. Another person who stumbled over their life's purpose was Dr. Mark Tapper. Now, 16-year-old Mark, like most of us, didn't know what he wanted to do when he grew up until he visited a chiropractor for treatment for an injury that he'd sustained. He was so impressed by how he was treated and how his injury healed that he decided right there and then that he wanted to become a chiropractor so that he could heal people's bodies and make them better. He's now in his 60s and is still practicing and wants to practice as long as he's able and absolutely loves doing what he does. And I know that story because he's actually my chiropractor and he's extremely gifted at what he does, which is like really proof that he is living out his purpose. And you've already heard the story of Jennifer in a previous episode and how she was a musician and, well, she wasn't a musician. She was working for a telecommunications company and then she was laid off, and she discovered, or she kind of rediscovered, a forgotten dream of being a musician. And now she's realized that that is actually her life's purpose. And she's living that out, writing the most beautiful songs and music. And you can hear more of her story told in her own words on the episode. I think it's entitled something along the lines of discovering your life's purpose through music. Now, I think we'll take a very short break and stay right there, and I will see you on the other side. You and I face more uncertainty today than we ever have in our lifetime. And I know that you and your teams have faced hardships that undermine your sense of identity and purpose. Uncertainty puts your vision at risk. This leads to confusion, loss of opportunity, and income. The time for courage is now. I almost died at birth. My twin sister and I were born 14 weeks premature in the 70s when such tiny babies were not deemed viable. We were given too much oxygen at birth, which caused irreparable damage to my eyes, causing total blindness. I get immense joy from sharing my story and teaching framework with audiences to help them transform from being people who are fearful, confused, and stuck to people who are in control and who take courageous steps toward a clear vision. Using my focus methodology, I will teach your team how to build their courage by fixing their eyes on the prize rather than the problems, and by optimizing their goals for outstanding outcomes so they can get back into some serious productivity. I will encourage them to connect with their conviction for increased consistency in performance and to constantly look to upgrade their courage for unbelievable results. Lastly, I will show your team how they can see their success by putting their courage into action. The experiences and challenges I have faced throughout my life have taught me skills of courage and resilience, which I will share with your team. Together, let's unlock new levels of courage. Welcome back to the Purpose Vision Future Show, the final episode of the season. And thank you to our lovely sponsors who make this broadcast possible. Now, if you would like to make this another broadcast possible or continue to be possible, please do donate. You can do that by going to wytv7.org. That's wytv7.org. Your donation makes this broadcast and others possible. So I told you about a couple of people before the break who had discovered their life's purpose by just stumbling over it, really. And now I'd like to tell you about a couple of people I have worked with as a coach and how they went through the process, which I outline in my book, Seeing by Vision, Not by Sight, which is this book, which you can get at purposevisionfuture.com. And if you can hear that noise in the background, which I hope you can't, it is my guide dog, Sadie, has decided to chew her bone. Oh, maybe she hasn't. Good. All right. So the first person I worked with to discover their life's purpose was Catherine. Now, when I started working with Catherine, she was unhappy with life and feeling restless. And she wanted to discover her life's purpose so that, because she'd have a number of things going on with her life. She'd studied and she'd left study and she was thinking about going back and she really didn't know what she wanted to do with her life. And so she wanted to discover her life's purpose so that she could work out what she could do with the rest of her life. And sorry, Libby, I've lost my place in my notes again. Sorry, give me a sec. All right, here we go. All right, so when Catherine discovered, you may remember that when you discover I'll start that again. You may remember from past episodes, I say it pretty much every episode, the process of discovering your life's purpose is examining your present, examining your past, and examining your passions and dreams. And you'll see themes that come up during those examinations, and those themes will point you towards your life's purpose. So when Catherine examined her present, she discovered that her life lacked purpose and direction. Her superpowers, the things she was really good at, were memory, self-deprecating humor, storytelling, research, problem solving, and listening. When she discovered her past, she realized that she was drawn to words and laughter and being a generous listener. When she examined her passions and dreams, Catherine found that she was passionate about fighting for injustice, teaching, research, writing, making people smile, being with others, travel, and culture. She's a very passionate person, passionate about a lot of things. Now, the themes that came up when we looked at those three areas were writing, storytelling, and humor. And after a lot of talking and thinking, we decided that Catherine's life's purpose was to make people see things differently. Now, when we finished our coaching some time ago, Catherine decided that she perhaps would like to write a book. And I spoke to her recently, and she's done some writing courses, but she hasn't really progressed with writing a book, and she's still not entirely sure. She's still working on what she wants to do with her purpose, which is okay, because sometimes it takes a while for these things to work out. Sometimes you've just got to put it in the slow cooker and let it stew for a while. Now, the second person I worked with, or another person I worked with a number, but another person I worked with was Justin. Now, when I started working with Justin, he was unhappy in his government policy job, and he wanted to discover his life's purpose so he could figure out what to do next. When Justin examined his present, he realized that he was too specialized in his field and that he wanted to broaden out a bit. He didn't want to stay in a desk job, and he wanted a job where he could move around a bit more. And he also wanted a job which was more practical. The things that Justin was really good at were protecting and helping people, risk management, and being calm in a crisis. His top interests were risk management, security, psychology, sociology, and governance. His top skills were protecting, problem solving, analysing and applying information, and assessing people. His top personal qualities were approachability, trustworthiness, intellectual thoughtfulness and wittiness, being willing to help and serve, and being a straightforward communicator. When Justin examined his past, he realized that he was happiest when he was not tied to a desk. He had in the past, good working relationships were very important to him. And he loved anything to do or anything related to security and risk management and governance. When Justin examined his passions and dreams, he realized he was passionate about caring for, protecting, and serving others. And he dreamt of being able to do something where he could see the practical effect of his work. And he was also passionate about the security field and risk management and governance. So it's not hard to see here that the themes that came up in Justin's life were caring for others and security. And so after a lot of discussion, we decided that Justin's life's purpose was serving, caring, and protecting others. So I should let you know that I am no longer coaching. I've pivoted into inspirational speaking. And so you can no longer work with me as a coach to discover your life's purpose, but that's okay, because the process, as I've said before, is all laid out in the book. It's all in there in easy to follow chapter. It's very practical. A lot of people have actually said that they can hear my voice when they're reading the book. So it's very practical, it's conversational. It's got exercises you can go through to make it all, to set it all out. And you can get that at purposevisionfuture.com. Now, as this is the last episode of the season, they at WYTV7, the lovely people there are trying to convince me to come back for a second season. But I will only do that if you guys let me know that you liked the show. Because if you like it, then I'd love to come back. And so you can tell me whether you liked the show or not in a number of different ways. You can comment on the posts and the producers will see that and let me know. You can do that by following my page on Facebook, and you can do that by going to facebook.com/Amanda J Heal. That's AMANDAHEAL. Sorry, AMANDAJHEAL. So Amanda J Heal. You can follow me on LinkedIn at Amanda J Heal. So it's linkedin.com/IN/Amanda J Heal. Or you can also follow me on Instagram at instagram.com/Amanda J Heal. Now, I really do hope that you enjoyed this season of the Purpose Vision Future show and that it touched your life for the better, because that's really what my goal is. And yeah, please let me know if you like the show and would like me to come back for another season. I think if I do a season 2, I will be interviewing other people who have discovered and are living out their life's purposes and seeing what they're up to and what wonderful things they're doing. And also, if you feel that that is you, please do contact me and you may be able to be a guest on this show. So before I leave, I will give you this bit of encouragement for the last time in this season. If you are facing a challenge which you are finding perhaps overwhelming or a bit too difficult, you've got this. I know you've got this. Just dig down deep inside, pull out that courage that I know is within you, and you'll be just fine. Thank you.